Hey you guys, welcome back to Heart Breathings. I just had a couple things that I really wanted to say, and I don't usually record at night, but there's no light coming in through the window, so I just have this one light, so I apologize if it's a little bit dark, but there's just something on my mind that I would really like to say. So earlier I was upstairs and I was going through my sales numbers, looking at my sales rankings and, feeling kind of discouraged because I had this big new release in January and everything went really well and my income was really high up about where I needed to be in terms of my goals in January and February. But then all of a sudden now in March, I've gone down about $5,000 from what I made last month. And it feels like it gets harder and harder to stay sticky or to stay at the top. And, sometimes what I find in this business is that it's so much about numbers. There's so many ways, especially because I'm relying on this as income. My husband doesn't work, so this is me completely supporting my family. And I know that some of you have this dream for yourself as well, or you're actually doing this, or you need this money to come in for some reason to support your family or to be able to quit your day job. The money and the numbers is so important, and it's such a big part of what we're doing here and why we're trying to make this work. But the danger when you focus on those numbers is that you start to let those numbers determine your self-worth. Sitting up there, looking at those numbers, scribbling all that stuff down, it was just like I started to feel this cloak of sadness come over me, like, what if I'm not good enough? What if I can't really do this? What if I'm not as great of a writer as I, always wanted to be? What if I've been working at this for so long? And all these negative thoughts just started invading my brain. And I know that I don't believe those things. I know that I don't base my own personal self-worth as a writer or as a person or as a mom on what those numbers say. Like, just because I have a book that's ranking at, 400,000 in the Kindle store does not mean that I am no longer an amazing person, or that I'm not a good mom, or that I don't deserve to be, a top 100 best-selling writer, or any of that stuff. None of that is true. But because I'm an artist, because I am a very sensitive individual and a writer, and because these things mean so very much to me, it can sometimes feel like my worth is determined by those numbers. It couldn't be further from the truth, but sometimes it feels that way and it's hard to get out from under it. So I really just felt like coming on tonight and talking to you about the truth of how this feels sometimes, and also just to tell you that you're not alone, that whether you have published that first book or not, whether you've published 10 books, whether you've published 20 or 50, it doesn't matter. All of us tend to, at some point, look at those numbers, whether it's how many words we've written per day, whether it's the rankings that we've seen, the number of sales we've gotten, how many views on YouTube. There's numbers all over, and we use those numbers so often to judge ourselves, to judge our success. But what I want you to know right now is that it's perfectly fine and normal to use those numbers as a metric, as a, ruler against whether you're growing in the right direction. Are you moving in the right direction? Are things getting better? Are they trending upwards? Or are you needing to make some changes? Are you needing to change your plan, change your series, make some better choices? They can be valuable to look at those numbers so that you can step back and evaluate how things are going or where you need to go next on your path. The danger of looking at those numbers is that instead of using them as a metric or as a signpost to where we need to go next, we often use them as a way to destroy our own self-confidence, to make us feel like we need to completely just give up, or that we're not, and this one's a big one, to compare to other people. We use those numbers to compare ourselves to other people. We say, oh my gosh, well, I have, this new release that I just put out 2 months ago is at 30,000 in the Kindle store. But oh my gosh, look at this other person that put out a book 4 months ago and they're still top 1,200 in the Kindle store. Well, what good does that do me to sit there and obsess over that? Because you know what? There could be somebody else who's looking at my book going, how is she still 30,000 in the Kindle store when my book's 175,000 in the Kindle store? It does us no good to sit there and obsess over, comparing ourselves to other people and look at their rankings versus our rankings, or how many books they've sold versus how many books we've sold. All that does is make you feel like you're somehow less than. And it is absolutely not true. In our society, we tend to use those numbers in that way. We tend to want to look at them instead of judging our own growth and using it as a catalyst for change. We tend to use it in a way that we compare ourselves to other people. And it just makes me sad. It makes me frustrated with myself when I do it. And it really devastates me when I see other people doing it, because I know that that number on a Kindle store, in their sales numbers, in their bank account, has nothing to do with whether you're a good person, with whether you're a great writer, with how your life is going in general. It doesn't make you a loser or a failure just because you only made, $150 on your books this month instead of $150,000. And on the flip side, somebody who did make $150,000 this month, it doesn't make them a better person. It means that they had incredible good luck. They worked really hard. Instead of judging yourself against those numbers, use it as a way to motivate yourself. But what I don't want you to do, and I'm saying this just as much to myself as I am saying it to you, is don't let those numbers define your self-worth. Don't look inside those numbers for proof that you're not good enough. Don't look to those numbers to validate whether or not you are on the right path, or whether or not you are good enough or just as good as someone else. And most of all, do not use those numbers as an excuse to change who you are. Don't let those numbers turn you into something that you're not because you're chasing better numbers. Don't suddenly start writing something or changing your entire personality, or jumping onto hot trends, or writing something that you don't enjoy writing, giving up on the dream that you had of the types of books that you most wanted to write. Don't let those numbers convince you that your path is completely wrong. Sure, there may need to be tweaks made. You might need to market a little bit harder. And sometimes you may just need more books. You may need a better strategy. You may need to just stay on this path a little bit longer until that tipping point and everything changes. It doesn't, just because the numbers are low or they're not what you want them to be, it doesn't mean that it's time to completely jump ship on your dreams and give up on them and go from being this authentic person who is writing what you love and following your heart to suddenly telling yourself, because of these numbers, I'm not good enough. So I'm going to do what other people are doing, or I'm going to do what people are telling me to do, or I'm going to try to become something else so that I can find these numbers that I'm so wanting to validate me, thinking that it's going to make you feel whole, or that it's going to make you feel like suddenly you've arrived. Because I'm telling you, I have seen it happen, and I know this to be true in my absolute heart of hearts, that chasing those numbers and turning who you are into something else, or turning away from your true authentic self or your true dreams, is not going to fulfill you in the long run. It doesn't matter if you make it top 20 in the Kindle store and you've got $1 million in the bank and a movie deal. Long term, I know it sounds crazy, like, oh my gosh, I would give anything for that. But the truth is, if you're writing something you don't enjoy, or you're not being authentic to yourself, or writing what you were truly put here on this earth to write and to do, it's not going to be enough. It's still not going to fulfill you. You're still going to be sitting there at number 13 in the Kindle store, and you're still going to be going, well, but look at her, she's number 10 and she hit it 5 times in a row and she just got a movie deal. And you're still going to be in that loop of comparison, and you're still going to be looking at those numbers. And guess what? That next release that comes out, you're not going to be satisfied with, top 100. You're going to want top 10, and you're never going to get off this hamster wheel of self-judgment, needing validation, needing those numbers to be constantly high. And believe me, I understand, because I was just upstairs at my computer obsessing over my own numbers and thinking, gosh, why are they so low? Why have they dipped so much this month? And the truth is, I am on a path here. There are very difficult things about this journey, and there are just going to be months that are high and there are going to be months that are low. But if I allow those numbers to start defining who I am and to start defining my own self-worth, then I know that it is going to take me from this straight path where I am truly following my dreams and I am doing what I was put on this earth to do. And it's going to shift me off the path because I'm going to be focusing on the wrong things. I'm going to be seeking that validation that is never, ever going to come. And I'm never going to find or really achieve what it is that I know I was put here to do. Your true worth comes from something bigger than numbers. Your true worth comes from being who you were meant to be, from living your most authentic life, from following your dreams and following your heart and writing what you truly want to write, writing something that completely turns your soul on fire and makes you excited every day to sit down at that keyboard. True self-worth comes from so many other things. It comes from your relationships. It comes from being the person you know you were meant to be in all facets of your life. It does not come from your ranking in the Kindle store. It does not come from how many books you sold today. Even if it was 0, you are still the incredible, amazing person that you were yesterday and that you will be tomorrow. So I just wanted to kind of get this off my chest because it is something that is on my mind a lot. We tend to judge ourselves by these numbers, and my hope for you and for myself is that we will catch ourselves in the process of comparison, especially when it comes to numbers, and we will understand that we are worthy, that we are amazing, that we are creating entire worlds out of nothing but our sheer imagination. And there is beauty and magic and power in that. And that's the exciting thing, not your ranking or how much money you made today or how much money you didn't make today. All right, guys, thanks so much for letting me just kind of get that off my chest a little bit. I hope that this video resonated with you, and if it did, please leave a comment down below and subscribe to this channel. This channel is called Heart Breathings because this is one of my favorite quotes that I had tattooed on my 40th birthday that says, "Fill your paper with the breathings of your heart." And I am very passionate about that. Fill your paper with the breathings of your heart. It doesn't say like fill your paper with the books that you think are going to get you the best numbers, right? And I truly believe in that. I want the good numbers. I really want the good numbers. And I love it when income is high and when sales are high. But what I want all of us to remember as authors and as entrepreneurs is that even in the down months, we are still worthy and we are still awesome. And those numbers just simply don't define us. All right, that's it for now, guys. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.